What's going on, Twitch and YouTube? Zero Lead here. I'm back with a new video, episode 19 of the U.S.S. CERRITOS tutorial. Just want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we got about a 25-minute video. We're going to be picking up where we left off with the circular corridors. I know I talked a little bit about that yesterday, that you could go ahead and finish the walls up, but I'm going to be still doing that today, but it'll be the same process that we were doing before. I know that I said also that I'd be skipping some super repetitive parts, but I figured with the corridors I wanted to do it because it could be tricky, um, especially if you're newer to building um, corridors on Minecraft. I wanted to make a point to build it out from beginning to end. So we're going to jump right into this thing. Let's get this going. And as we're, excuse me, once we get a little bit into this, we're actually going to close in a little bit of the hull, like along the lip of the saucer up top. We're going to prep that out and try to get all the edging lined up so we can close it all in tomorrow's episode, and then, well, I should say Tuesday's episode, and then going into next week. So now I'm just going on the other side. I'm on my outer circular corridor. I'm building on the inner wall. You can see I'm not going along the blue line. We're in the back end. Technically, this area right here is where the right side rear shuttle bay is going to go. This was another main reason why I wanted to show all this, because it's going to get a little bit tricky back in this area, because I haven't 100% figured out how I'm going to blend it all in. I don't typically like to be in that situation. And what I mean by that is I'm not sure how I'm going to blend in this corridor with the shuttle bay. But in order to really do that, I'm going to have to get some of the shuttle bay built up. That's why you can see me that I'm just building this wall. I'm going across here. At this point, we're right over the shuttle bay. I don't think that we're going to have this wall here. I really think that this is going to be gone, because if we have this here, we're going to have like no room for the shuttle bay. And I don't want to do that. I want it to at least be as practical as we can make it. So I think what I'm going to end up having to do ultimately when we come in here to do the interior, I'm just going to have to put the walls up and try to blend it all in together. But that won't be a big deal. We can close off the upper side of the hull, as long as we get the main portion of the corridor done, it'll be fine. At this point, I'm not too worried about blending it all in once we get there. I just haven't fully decided what I want to do yet. So I need to actually go back and rewatch Lower Decks Season 1 and see if I can find any screenshots of the shuttle bay. I could have sworn that there was like 1 or 2 episodes where they showed it. If I'm not crazy and they did, let me know in the comments section. If you know which episode it is, that would be great. But I'm going to be going back and watching that so I can get that. I need to actually get on that, because getting to a point where I'm slowly catching up to where I was. So this weekend I'm going to be on streaming. I don't know when, but definitely follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ZeroElite if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be doing a live build on the interior, trying to get some of that stuff going, because I really want to get a lot of content recorded for that, so this way there is no interruption between the build and we just go all the way through. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. So if you're wanting to ask me questions, this weekend would be a great time to do it. You can also ask me questions while I'm adding the commentary for my episodes. So definitely feel free to drop them down in the comments section. And I see that I did get a new subscriber, Darth Panda Guru. I see they had followed me earlier. Just want to thank you very much for following me. I definitely appreciate that. And everybody that has taken the time to subscribe to me on my Twitch channel. I'm still kind of new to Twitch. I've been trying to get the hang of it. I've had the YouTube channel for a while now, but I've been trying to do videos for both. And it's been working out pretty good. You can see we're just going along here, like I said, at this point, we're right over the shuttle bay, the right side rear shuttle bay. But I'm 100% certain we're going to take this wall out. But main reason for keeping this here and building it out is I want to keep my options opened just in case I decide to make any changes, whatever else, you know, you never know. We're definitely going to be tackling that once we get into the interior. This is just forming and prep work, essentially, or glorified prep work, because without these corridors, it's going to make building your interior so much harder than it needs to be. And this is something that you can apply to so many other builds too, not even necessarily starships. The way you build a house or submarine, it could really be anything. When you plot out your hallways um, and kind of do that first, that can help to dictate your layout in so many ways, and it ends up being so much more organized that way. There's other games I play sometimes, like when I'm on Ark, for example. When I'm building on there, one of the first things I do is I prep my hallways out, and I just kind of figured that that gets you some of the best uh, build that you can get, at least the most what's the word I'm looking, the most thought out build that you can do. I know some people on Arc, they're not too worried about that, but when I get on there, I guess it's just the builder in me. I love to build cool looking stuff, as you can see, like we're doing here on Minecraft. He said change that part on the left. Now I'm doing it, or excuse me, on the right side, and I'm going to do that on the left side. That's always important, that if you change one thing on one side, you want to hop over and do it on the other side. Tell you, I've got a bunch of little rules that I go by when I'm working on my builds, and these rules have helped me to stay consistent enough in my builds that they come out good enough. I've been fortunate enough to get people interested in my builds. So hopefully this information helps you out in your build as well. And hopefully you learn a little bit today as we're building this thing out. Because I mean, the corridors, they could always be a little bit tricky. I always at least get a couple of questions here and there on how to do it. And I mean, rightfully so, because I mean, building out the corridors is not the easiest thing to do. I've just got the fortune of have built several ships under my belt at this point. So I'm kind of cheating in the sense, because I'm somewhat using like a loose blueprint of like the other Federation ships that I've used, but I'm really not, because that's just kind of how the blueprint of the layout of most Federation ships ends up being. So it's not really cheating. It's kind of like one of those things, once you learn the layout, it makes it easier to do your interiors, which has turned out to be true on this build. Um, it's not going to be anything like my enterprises that I've done in the past, but they'll be familiar enough that you'll know at least that you're on a Federation ship, that's for sure. Anyway, getting back a little bit what I got going on here, you see we're building out our main archways for our walkway intersections. This is definitely important to add this on. We're just going to go up 3 high and then make sure to delete the access. I mean, you could leave it below, but the OCD kicks in. I just got to get rid of it. I'm actually curious to see how the interior is going to turn out on this thing, because my intention is I want to go as far out as I can on the interior on this, just like I did with the Discovery Enterprise, my other enterprises I've done too, um, which is scary and cool at the same time, because this is going to be my first ship outside of a Constitution class that I've done a full interior on. Um, but I'm pretty confident it's going to come out pretty good. But again, you know, if you have rooms that you want to see me add on this build, now's definitely the time to ask me while I'm getting ready to work on it. And while I still have time to incorporate maybe that idea into the build. Because once I get to a certain point, on here. We'll put it this way: the more I get done, the less likely it is that I can incorporate an idea or a bigger idea into the build. If I have a lot of people asking, so if there's some stuff that you want to see, definitely drop a comment below, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Definitely appreciate it. And even if you just want to say hi or drop a comment regarding anything I've talked about in today's episode, or any other builds that you want to see me do, definitely drop a comment below for that as well. You never know. All right, now I'm signaling that I'm closed in the inner circle corridors. That's nothing fancy. Literally just going by the same thing here. In fact, the only thing that I want to point out here while we're up in the air before we go forward is that our gray V right here on each side, on the left side and then on the right side. Your walls, you're only going to build up to as far as you can go with your blue floor. So your blue floor stops right before that V. So stop your hallways right there. And don't worry about it. We will cross that bridge once we get there. I'm going to use this area. I'm pretty certain at this point within this area is going to be mostly dedicated to like the shuttle bays and cargo. That just makes a lot of sense to me. I'm still researching some of the rooms on the Cerritos. So I want to get as close as I can. But I'm kind of feeling, because it just makes sense, that if I'm going to have like a storage area, it would be close to the shuttle bay. So you can definitely bang that out, because we've already done it 2 times now in yesterday's episode and today's episode. We got the outer corridor done. I just didn't do the inner one live, but it's literally the same process. But for whatever reason, if you get stuck during this tutorial or during your build, drop a comment below. I'm usually pretty responsive in the comment section. I'll try to see what I can do to help. But now I'm going to start filling in our upper hull here. I'm literally just going along the lip and I'm building in this gap. I'm just going from the outer lip to our first inner ring. But now I've got to double check and make sure that all my lines are matching up. So that looks good right there with the gray and yellow, just making sure that they're the same height. But the gray right here actually needs to be a little bit higher. Yellow not. And that'll make sense when we close in the rest of the hull. So like I said, this thing is like a puzzle. I'm not kidding. It was a little nerve-wracking to figure out how I was going to do the hull, but once I got it down, I got it down. If you can envision it, so both the left side and right side where we had added those lines, it's going to be raised up by one, and that's going to be all filled in. And it's going to go by layers, in fact, and within the V on the upper side here, we're going to progress higher and higher, just like it is on the CERRITOS. If you're not sure what I mean, go on Google right now and do a search for U.S.S. CERRITOS 3D model, or just pull up a picture and try to find a picture of the upper hull, and you'll see the shapes that I'm talking about. And I will say ahead of time that mine's not 100% accurate, but I want to say that I'm probably within the 96, 97 accuracy point on it. I got about as close as you can get on it, I think. Because I honestly haven't seen anybody else build the CERRITOS on Minecraft yet. I think I might actually be the first one. So now we're in our outer circular corridor, and we're on the right side wall. In the upper corner, I'm just adding another row, a lip. Because what I don't like, basically, it doesn't look bad on the straightaway corridors, but there's something about the circular corridors that I don't like the completely flat roof. It looks too plain, and I feel like I can do a little bit better. And this is just one of those cases where the best thing to do if you're not sure what to do is just go slow and take your time and add it little by little. This is kind of what I'm doing right here. You see I've gone around and I've filled in the remaining portion of the gap that we hadn't filled in for just the outer portion of the ring where I started filling it in a moment ago. You're going to want to go all the way around your saucer and do that as well. You're only going to want to bring that up. This is important, up to your very first inner circular ring. Don't add any more of your hull in after that, because I'm going to show you in next week's episodes how to fill that in, because we're going to be progressively going up layers here and there as we get closer to the center of our saucer. And it'll make a little bit more sense as we get into it. That's why I don't want to talk about it too much without doing it, but just worry about the lip to the first inner ring, filling that in all the way around. Then you see I switched over to the other side wall, and I'm doing the same thing. I went up one and out on the cut, so I'm technically 4 high, but I'm in one, but I'm going with the cut line. So there's going to be 1 block missing between each row in the very middle. I used a similar pattern when I built the corridors for my Constitution class ships. And I don't know. I'm not really, put it this way. I'm still not, even at this point, I'm not fully 100% happy with what I have here. I feel like I need to do something else with the roof. I might actually just end up flattening it out, because I mean that's more or less what it looked like. Um, I'm not going to be happy about it. But I think that's pretty much going to be my only option at this point. But hey, if you have any ideas, drop a comment below. If I think it's a good idea and I can make it work, you never know, might just incorporate it into the build. You see what I did there? I went with the pattern. That's how I was able to fix those blocks right there. Going with the cut line, making sure everything matches up. When you get to a point where you can start spotting out your mistakes. All right, now we're going to bang out this section. We still have a little bit of time left. We have about 10 minutes left in today's episode. And if you're just tuning in with me on my live stream, just want to thank you very much for tuning in. You could always catch my live Twitch stream Sundays through Thursdays, typically between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. I know I'm starting a little bit late tonight, but I had a few clips I had to edit together before I was able to get going on this, so I started just a little bit later tonight. But still want to make sure to get this out. And I'm going to have a few more streams going this weekend. I'm not sure what time, but I can tell you I will probably be on Minecraft a whole bunch this weekend, because I have a lot to do on the interior. So definitely check out my Twitch stream on twitch.tv/ZeroElite. And if you're on my Twitch stream, don't forget also to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/C/0elite. You can subscribe to me on there as well. I would greatly appreciate it. I've got all sorts of videos coming out on there for my U.S.S. CERRITOS tutorial. I've also got my Starship Evo builds that those release on Mondays. I will say too that my hallways here, I mean, they don't look bad, and I decided to leave it, but they're kind of thin. I needed to add 1 more row to make them the right thickness, but I think I can maybe fix that. Um, like I said, we're not done with the circular corridor here. We need to do a little bit more to it, but you can. It's okay though. You can make a couple of mistakes here and there, and you can see I'm going to finish it with those mistakes, and I'm just going to work on it and try to make it better. Sometimes you need a template to go off of in order to make something come out a little bit nicer. But right now, I'm just concerned with getting the rest of our corners done going along the wall here for both the left side and the right side of our outer ring circular corridor. And we're going to do the same thing for the inner ring also. If I don't do it live in this video with you, you're just going to want to rewind the video, watch it back with me, and repeat this exact same process, but on the inner ring. That is the one cool thing that I like about the design for these corridors, that they're, once you get it down, it's kind of hard to mess it up. You can just continue it on over and over and over again. And it's the same design. But it's not turning out too bad, I don't think. I also know the other thing I want to talk about. I haven't seen the episode yet, but this is a minor spoiler for Star Trek Discovery. So if you don't want to hear this, be sure to mute me for the next couple of moments. But I saw that I guess they're getting new uniforms. I saw another spoiler, which I'm not going to say until I actually watch the episode. But I had another, I had something else spoiled for me regarding the show, and it's pretty cool. I'm glad they did it, but I want to see, how the season ends. But the new uniforms, they look kind of cool. When I first saw them, my first initial reaction was, eh. But like within a couple of minutes, like I look back at them again, and believe it or not, you know what, they remind me a lot of um, William Shatner's Admiral uniform that he wore in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But instead of having white, it was just a straight, flat gray. It's got like a piece of color going along, the right shoulder down to the waist. And they have the three different colors in Starfleet going across there. But it does. It looks very similar to the uniforms in like the motion picture, which I actually don't mind it. And I almost feel like they're referencing a lot of the Shatner movies. I tell you, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is I wish that they would drop whatever problem they have with William Shatner and get him back to do something with him while he's still around, because there's going to come a day where he's not going to be around anymore, and I think that'll just be too bad if he never does anything with Star Trek ever again. I wish that they would get him for Star Trek Online. I know that's impossible too. I heard that I guess he's like sworn them off because they did something to piss him off. But I would like to see maybe one last go around with him doing something with Star Trek. But that's kind of my little bit of information that I have for Discovery, because as you can probably figure out at this point, that I haven't watched the last couple of episodes. I've been waiting for them to come out. I'm probably just going to binge them. I don't know if it'll be this weekend, because I've got to get on Minecraft a lot this weekend to get this build, a lot of it completed for the interior. But I definitely plan on watching them soon. I might watch them during the course of next week even. Sorry, we're going to start adding in our inner ring here. I'm starting this off, so I'm showing you how I'm doing this from the outside. Make it a little bit easier for you, because you can always, there's multiple ways that you can build. I did it below before, and now this time I was just doing it above. And this is exactly what I was talking about in the inner ring. You said I'm only built these walls up anywhere that I have flooring. So when you get back to that gray V, that's where you're going to stop with your walls. You just want to make sure to go along with the cut, and you will not make a mistake. Always make sure to go back and get rid of your access too, because that can definitely mess it up also. But if you stick to those two things, you'll be in really good shape. Really happy with the progress that we're making on this thing. We're rocking and rolling. We're going to be doing the interior before you know it, and we're going to be calling this thing a done deal. It's hard to believe that I've come this far on this build already. It feels like not too long ago I was still working on the Discovery Enterprise and just talking about this build, and now I feel like I'm getting to a point where we're really getting close to being complete on it, even though we still have a lot done. But you have to also understand that in my live build, I'm a lot further along than you guys are right now in episode 19. But you're going to be catching up with me pretty soon. And that's one of the reasons I need to get on this weekend and get that done. So if you want to check out me building live, you have questions. This weekend's definitely going to be the time to do it. See here, I'm just going up to every single corridor intersection. I'm just making sure my pattern matches, where I'm basically doing a block, or excuse me, a square of cyan with two blue strips in the very middle. Well, I shouldn't say two blue strips, two blocks side by side. Oh, I made a mistake right there, and I didn't even fix it. I'm ashamed of myself. Can't believe I missed it. But no, I'll come back and fix that mistake at some point. You want to make sure that it is two wide and not one. Otherwise, you're going to have an error there like I did, and your build is not going to look as detailed if you leave it as is. So I was just hopping over there to look at that screenshot briefly, trying to get a little bit more inspiration for the lighting. And then also the colors for the roof too. And this could change too. I don't know. I'm not set on these colors. So if this isn't doing it for you and you think I maybe need to change it, don't be afraid to tell me, because this is largely, my first go around at doing next gen era corridors. But I think all things considered, it's a really good first attempt. All things considered, I mean, um, I had a mock that I did, like a 8 block long mock of the corridor that I made. But this is really the first time that I made it fully formed. I do think that the sea lanterns look good because they almost kind of. I wish they'd be a little bit darker so that they could just match with the cyan. But it doesn't look bad. We're getting into the last few moments of today's episode. Just banging out the last of these corridor intersections, making sure the tops and bottoms match. Make sure you do that on your build also. All right, we're looking pretty good. Just got to throw down a couple of sea lanterns. So now, like, you can really start to walk through your ship and get a feel. I hate to make a joke out of how it's going to feel, basically. But no, doesn't look bad. But yeah, I mean, this circular walkway, I mean, I think I need one more row. I really do, because, and what I mean by like is to make it a little bit wider. It almost feels like it's like one block too thin. And I've got a way that I can fix that if I do ultimately make the decision to do that. We would essentially, what we would do, I'm going to rewind here so I can show you what I mean. Hopefully, yeah, here we go. So we're on the outer ring right now. I don't know if I'm going to do this. I want to think about it first. But if you're in a situation right like you are right now, where you've already built out your corridor, but then you're thinking, man, you know, maybe I need to make this one wider. What am I going to do? So the easiest solution here would be to go on the other side of the left wall here, so the inner wall, and duplicate this wall directly behind it, and then go back and then delete this first wall right here. That would really be a way to do it right there. And that would free up a little bit of space, I think. But I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think ultimately I am, because it's not so much a problem at our intersections, but when we start to go around the bend, it gets a little narrow, and just having one more block wide would make it give you a little bit more breathing room, because you want to be able to feel when you're walking through this corridor that you feel like at all times that you've got room to walk around and it feels like other people could walk around there with you. And if you don't feel like that, then it's not big enough. So I know that that's a mistake and I need to correct it. And I'm almost thinking I'm certain that I'm going to do that, in fact. And one of the reasons why I'm almost certain I'm going to do this now that I'm thinking about it is because you think about the process of this, where if you look at your options, you can either do this on the left side, adding another row behind, or on the right side. Now, the problem with doing it on the right side, we don't have a lot of real estate on this right side right here. Because if you go on this other side of this wall right here, this is where a lot of our bedrooms are going to be and whatnot, science labs or whatever else. And it's not a ton of room. So we can't really sacrifice even another block for that. We need every single block that we've got right now. So that's just something to think about. And we're going to revisit that when we come in to do the interior. But even at this point, when I do come back to do that, the upper hull will be closed in, but that will be okay because we've got our corridors built up to where we can edit them. It's just you don't want to be building them from scratch in the dark. Take my word for it. I've done it, and it is a nightmare. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. We've gone through a lot. We've almost completed our corridors, and we're going to be, before you know it, closing in the hull and getting the interior done. But I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's video. Hope you enjoyed this content. And if you did, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on Twitch, please follow me on twitch.tv/ZeroElite. I've always got new streams coming out Sundays through Thursdays, typically between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget also to follow me on YouTube at youtube.com/C/ZeroElite. You can always catch my new Starship Evo builds on Mondays. You can catch my new Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays through Fridays. And all the videos on YouTube drop at 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope everybody has a happy and safe weekend, and I'll catch you on next week's episode.